fish and chips, Sunday roast, full English breakfast. Hello and welcome to another English podcast with Paul. I'm your host, Paul, and as always, natural, native, unscripted, unedited conversation. And as some of you may know, that often I'm in a different location because that's one of the things I do. I go and look after people's pets and I move from house to house to house. So almost every week you may see a different background. Today I'm in like a study room and it's very cozy and snug. All right then, so today, food, great British food. Now, everywhere you go, every country says, oh, I miss my food. My country's food is the best food. And that is very, very true because as we grow up and we get bigger, we connect memories and good times with food. So our brains really connect the food and the parties and the good times and those family members that may not be with us, all with food. And that stays with us for a long, long time. So it's very difficult to say that another country's food is any better than your country's food. So today we're talking about great British food. And every British person likes British food, so much so that when they go on holiday somewhere else, they want to eat British food. Now, that's crazy, I know. When you're on holiday or you're visiting another country, you should enjoy and try all the different foods that that country has to offer. I mean, that's the whole point in going abroad, isn't it? To experience different cultures and see different sights. So why wouldn't you want to try the food in that country, the local cuisine? Well, it escapes me. I don't know why people don't. So a very famous example would be Spain and Benidorm. Almost everywhere in Spain and almost everywhere in Benidorm, you can probably get some English food. So everywhere English goes, there is probably going to be some English food. If the British people go there a lot and spend a lot of money, so we want our food to be there as well. It's crazy, I know, but it is what it is. Right, so I want to talk about the foods that we Brits, not me necessarily, I don't like everything, but we Brits in general really like these famous cooked foods. All right, I'm going to start with main meals. And as most of you will know, the British people love fish and chips. Okay, so fish and chips is exactly what it says it is. All right, we like not fries, not American fries. Ooh, don't say that. Don't give that to an English person. Big, fat, chunky potato, deep fried until they're nice and soft and brown. All right, like a yellowy straw brown. English people love it. Lots with salt and vinegar, and you need to put the vinegar on first and then the salt. So we really love these fish and chips. And it used to be a very cheap meal. It's becoming more and more expensive in this modern age. But also, the fish and chips are very versatile. You can buy other things to go with it. You can have sausage and chips or chicken and chips or pie and chips. And then you can have curry sauce with it. You can have other sauces. You can have baked beans with it from the shop. So we have a takeaway shop often that sells only fish and chips because it's so popular. They just sell fish, chips, and like I say, the sundries that go with it. And they wrap it up in a bag, all right? So they get it out of the frying pan behind them, and then they turn around and put it on the counter on a big load of sheets of paper, like clean white paper, special cooking paper, all right, that absorbs the fat. And they like put 2 or 3 pieces on, and they wrap it up and roll it over, and they do that. Maybe your fish and your chips, or your chips and your sausage, and they wrap it up for you. And then maybe they put it in a carrier bag, or you just carry it off like it is and pay for it. So that is That is what a lot of people do, especially on a Friday. It's kind of tradition for a lot of people to eat fish and chips on a Friday. It's the weekend, I've worked hard, I deserve some fish and chips. So that is a great British staple that a lot of people have. Maybe a third of the country will have fish and chips on a Friday. So that's been a long-standing tradition. You can always know there's a good fish and chip shop if there's a queue of people outside. Right, okay, moving on. What else do we really like? So you might hear a full English, and it's a full English breakfast just down to a full English. We say it so much, we contract it down to a full English. And that is normally, now I may get some comments now saying that I'm not putting in all the food that should be in there. But generally, a full English breakfast would consist of eggs, bacon, sausages, beans, mushrooms, tomatoes, and now you can have hash browns or some other starch to go with it. That is kind of the base, and then you can build on top of that. You can have black pudding or hog's pudding. What else can you have? Extra eggs, different types of eggs, toast. Often you get toast, and then next to the toast you get a cup of tea. So tea with a full English breakfast. Really, really popular. Kind of most popular on a Saturday morning or a Sunday morning. Normally a Saturday morning in my area. So you can now also get kind of vegetarian and vegan options as well. So those are really famous. You'll often get that in other parts of the world. You can ask for a full English, and that's what's expected. Normally a little bit on the greasy side. They say it's good after a hangover if you've been drinking the night before. But a full English breakfast is really popular and really common, especially on a Saturday for some reason. Fills you up for the day, you know, and then you could go all day. Right. Now, Brits are always in search of a really good roast dinner. You really miss home when you know you haven't had a roast dinner in a while. Right. So a roast dinner consists mainly of probably a meat, whether it's chicken or beef or lamb or pork, one of those. And then there would be like roast potatoes, which are quite big potatoes, and they're roasted in the oven, obviously with some fat on it and maybe some seasoning, and then lots of butter on it. So you'd have meat, and you'd have the potatoes, and then you'd have some vegetables, whichever veg you like. Often it's something like cauliflower or broccoli with carrots and peas and things like this, because peas and gravy go together really, really well. And often that it'll be the sauce over the top of everybody's roast dinner will be gravy. Now gravy is a little bit salty and very dark, and it's often a little bit runny. Depends who makes it. I like a thick gravy, and it just like helps go well with all the rest of the food, the vegetables. And again, we can have sundries with this roast dinner, which makes it individual to each family. My mum used to give me Yorkshire puddings, and you'd fill it up with the gravy, you know, and you can have, if you've got pork, you can have apple sauce, or you might want a little bit of mustard for your beef, or your chicken, I don't know, maybe some other sauce. But gravy is kind of the thing that goes with every roast dinner. Gravy. Yorkshire puddings, some people, if they're really crazy and wild, they will have like bread sauce. Now bread sauce over cauliflower and broccoli is really nice. And this is like a bigger version for Christmas, all right? For the English Christmas dinner is like a big Sunday roast with extra meats and extra and sundries, such as the bread sauce. Now, like I said, every household is different. Every household is very famous or happy for their own style of Sunday roast. So that's That's two really big ones. Sorry, three really big ones. Fish and chips, Sunday roast, and a full English breakfast. Right, that's the main ones. So, depending on now where you go in the country, there are a few others that are also just as popular. So, in the winter, in my area, we used to really like a cottage pie or a shepherd's pie. So that'd be like a load of gravy at the bottom of this big deep dish, a big family dish. So at the bottom would be a load of gravy, and in the gravy would be peas and maybe carrots and some other vegetables, and then mincemeat in with this. So it'd be like kind of like a stew with mincemeat. But then there'd be a big fat layer of mashed potato on the top. And then you might get a fork and fluff it up. And when it's nearly finished, you get a nice crispy layer across the top. Some people, if you want to be crazy, put cheese on top of the mashed potato at the end to really make it golden brown and taste really gorgeous and full of fats. So that's a good meal for the winter. Cottage pie. Very similar to shepherd's pie. I'm believed, I don't know for sure, I'm not an expert, I don't know for sure, but I think cottage pie has beef in it, beef mince, and shepherd's pie would have lamb mince in it, hence a shepherd and lamb. That's my understanding. Right. Also, going back a little bit further in time, this was more popular with an older generation, older than me, would be ham, egg and chips. So 2 or 3 slices of ham, a portion of chips, a smaller portion than if you go to the shop, and some eggs. That is really popular and normally a good value dish. It wouldn't cost too much, depending on the type of cafe that you're in. Again, depending on where you are in the country, steak and kidney pie and chips. You can see now there's a theme. We really like our chips. Steak and kidney pie. Especially up north, a pie is really, really liked. Steak and kidney pie or an ale pie. So ale is like beer pie. All right then, now moving on to less substantial meals would be maybe some, say, soup and bread. A big crusty roll of bread with lots and lots of butter inside, lashings of butter. And a really good soup. It could be really good for a lunchtime meal. And then the classic baked beans on toast. Again, evening for a lunch or a light evening snack. Beans on toast. Preferably Heinz baked beans on 2 slices of bread, 2 slices of toast that have been buttered first. You've got to butter your toast first. And then, the baked beans on top. And again, if you want to be devilish, you can put cheese on top of your baked beans on toast. Some people just put like brown sauce or HP sauce on top. Something similar to that would be cheese on toast, or Welsh rabbit as we used to call it. Welsh rabbit. Cheese on toast. Cheese on toast. Okay. Right. Oh, it's one of my favorites. Bangers and mash. There's even a kid's cartoon called Bangers and Mash. I can't remember too much about it, from the 70s or 80s. Bangers and mash. So bangers is sausages and mashed potato. Sausages and mashed potato. And sometimes baked beans. And again, if you want to be devilish, you can put some cheese in with the mashed potato. Oh, it is to die for. Gorgeous. And then maybe I personally like a little bit of salt and pepper on mine as well. Bangers and mash. Now, one I nearly forgot that I was going to tell you that you don't hear about a lot now. And that is toad in the hole. You should Google it. Toad in the hole. So basically that's some sausages in a not too deep pan, but a big pan. And then there's like Yorkshire pudding or batter mix poured in with it. And you just put that in the oven and you bring it out. And you can cut it up and maybe have a couple of sausages with this batter mix, the same as the Yorkshire pudding. And pour gravy on that. and then maybe a couple of vegetables on the side. So yeah, toad in a hole. That's what we used to call it. I've already said about pie and gravy and pie and chips. Pies are really popular in the UK. I think it's because it's like a mini oven. You know, you got some food inside this casing of pastry, and you just peel off the top and watch all the steam come out. You know, and then you can smell the food inside, whether it's steak and kidney or ale or something else. Really popular. It's making me hungry. Oh, right. Okay, let's keep going. Now, you won't have heard of this for a long time. A ploughman's lunch. A ploughman's lunch. Sounds a bit odd. So I think this was from farmers' time, you know, when the people working on the land. So it'd normally be like a bit of meat, maybe a slice of ham and some cheese, maybe a little bit of salad, probably an egg or oh, what's that called now? A pork pie. A pork pie. You heard of that? That's literally a hard, like a hard casing, normally a bit small, a hard casing of pastry. And then inside that there would be some pork in this gelatine. Well, it sounds horrible now, but we used to love it in the day. With gelatine surrounding this big lump of pork. So that would often be your ploughman's lunch. Maybe you'd get some crisps on the side as well. All right. Now, I call this next one a Spanish omelette, but the wife says, no, it's just an omelette. I really like an omelette, which is just a few eggs poured into a frying pan, a hot frying pan, and then maybe you chuck in some mushrooms, maybe some tomatoes, maybe a bit of onion, and then it's kind of like a pancake, and you can just throw it over once. And as I said before, if you like to be devilish, chuck in some cheese as well. And it's normally just folded over once. So it's like a pancake in half. A savoury pancake folded in half. Really nice. It's hard to get a good vegan omelette these days. Asda used to do one very, very good orcana in a box that you could make up. It was really great. They stopped doing it. I don't know why. All right. This is quite British. Boiled egg and soldiers. Boiled egg and soldiers. So soldiers were just bread, well, preferably toast and buttered toast, cut into long lengths. And then you dunk it. You take the top of your egg off, and then you just dunk it in in a runny egg. And then you'd eat the bread and toast after dunked in the runny egg. So that's called egg and soldiers. Oh. So sometimes if you haven't got enough time to cook a meal and you want a snack, something we used to eat a lot, especially in the 80s, was fish fingers. Fish fingers and beans and toast, or if you want to be devilish, fish finger sandwich. Oh my God, that's amazing. So these little oblongs of what was supposed to be fish, little oblongs of fish, inside this golden crispy packet, I guess. And you'd probably have like 3 of them. You get 3 of them, and they're deep fried. So you could put them under the grill. I think they were deep fried before. But anyway, you cook them up in the grill or in the frying pan, and then you can just chuck them straight onto bread and butter, and then you got with a bit of ketchup, obviously. Then you've got yourself a really nice fish finger sandwich. Oh, again, delicious. Now, if you're a child and you manage to sneak out some bread and butter, something we used to have is a crisp sandwich. So you take your crisps out of the packet and you lay them down on the piece of bread, put the other piece of bread on top and crunch it down, and there you got a lovely crisp sandwich. Another great sandwich would be a chip butty sandwich, a chip butty sandwich. So if you've had some fish and chips maybe the day before, the night before, you could reheat the chips if you're a Neanderthal, or if you're happy enough to eat not just your chips, but put them in a piece of bread and butter, you can have a chip butty. You could actually sometimes buy this from the fish and chip shop, a chip butty, which is just 2 pieces of bread or 1 piece of bread folded over with chips inside. and maybe a bit of ketchup. Oh, delightful. Mwah! Chippy. Oh, goodness me. Right. Also, then you've got the more posh and well-to-do BLT. And I'm pretty sure it stands for bacon, lettuce and tomato. A BLT sandwich. You've also got the very posh club sandwich. I can't remember what's in a club sandwich, but it's very expensive. All right. My kids used to love a jam sandwich for school. Oh, she would have them every day. My daughter would love those. Right then, a couple of honourable mentions. All right, just a few more honourable mentions would be a Cornish pasty. Now, obviously, I'm not from Cornwall, I'm from Somerset. But a Cornish pasty, sometimes a really big, meal to really fill you up, especially if you're out and about. So if you're in a town, you could get a Cornish pasty. You wouldn't often buy it and take it home. You'd often eat it sat outside on a step because it's like a whole meal in one. All right, it's basically soft crust pastry. It's a roll of pastry that you can put your hands on, and then it's like folded over with vegetables and meat and quite peppery. So you could hold the outside. And I think this was designed for the miners, being down in the mines, coming out all dirty. They could hold the crust, the curled crust of this pasty and eat away at it and then throw away the crust. So they didn't get the soot and the dirt from their hands in their mouth. So a Cornish pasty is really, really nice. We don't eat too many of them these days, I think. Also from I'm not sponsored, but the most famous of all, Greg's Pasties. Greg's is a bakery. It's doing very well these days. Greg's Bakery. Okay, so in Greg's Bakery, it'd be on high street. It'd be almost in every high street in every town. You can go into Greg's the bakery and pick up a pasty, or you can pick up a sausage roll. Even now, you can get vegan sausage rolls or bean burgers and things like this in Greg's. So Greg's are becoming really popular and a common place on the high street. Very, very common now. Right. Now, I did say a couple more honourable mentions, and this is it, I promise. The last two. Spag bowl, spaghetti bolognese. This obviously doesn't come from England, but we seem to have acquired it. Spag bowl with garlic bread. Brits love garlic bread, many different types. And then the other one is lasagna, tagliatelle, or ratatouille. Now, and I would get shot if I didn't tell you this, but the people that live in our country, that love football, they seem to all love football, really can't go without a curry. They call it a ruby, they call it, I don't know, all sorts of names for curries. Now, I've got to hold my hands up and admit, I don't like a curry. So I don't know a lot about it. But curries are really, really popular in the UK since sort of the 70s, 80s and 90s. People spend days preparing a curry. I've worked in care homes where the guys be like, oh yeah, I'm going to make this great curry. It's going to be amazing and it's going to take 2 days to make. I'm like, what? 2 days? 2 days? I want to eat tonight. So you'd have your first meal out of the curry, and then they would make so much, they would keep it for the next day, and so it would kind of ferment and taste better the following day. Now, as I said, I don't like curries, but a lot of men in the UK really love a good curry. They talk about it a lot, they swap recipes, and they're very, very proud of their curries. But there you go. Like I said, it's not something I like. All right, but I must also tell you that the British people love a good cup of tea. Good cup of tea. So now really there's only 4 cups of tea we can have in England. Now that's Tetley tea, Thai food tea, my favourite Yorkshire tea, good strong cup of tea, and in a pinch, especially if you're abroad, English breakfast tea. by Twinings or something like that. So a good quality tea. Now, that's not the exhaustive list. Obviously, there's lots and lots of different dishes that people in the UK really enjoy. I haven't even started talking about haggis or any of the Irish dishes or the Scottish dishes. So the list is very, very big, and we haven't got time to talk about everything. But like I said before, the British are really proud of their food. Now, compared to the rest of the world, is it the most flavorful? No. Is it the most adventurous? No. Is it the most interesting? No. And like I said, it is what it is. It is just British food that's connected with memories and our culture. Now, I have tasted some amazing food from different countries. And so I know that our food isn't the best in the world. And I know that French people say our food is so bland and boring. And yes, it probably is. So there is a lot of really good cuisine around the world, especially Italian cuisine and French cuisine. I think there's nothing that beats Italian and French cuisine. So that's it. That's it. Nothing else to add. Us English are a little bit bland and boring, so there we go. Maybe I'll make up for some of the other areas where we tend to be a little bit crazy and too much and overbearing and arrogant in other areas. Our food isn't the best in the world. There we go. So if you come to this country, if you come to the UK, please be prepared for our regular dietary dishes such as fish and chips and a full English breakfast. Right, so that's it for today. Thank you very much. Let me know your country's dish. Let me know your favourite culture's dish. What dish did your grandma cook for you? What did your mum cook for you? What is the best food you've had? Let me know in the comments. Let's have a conversation. Let's not get too aggressive about it. But tell me your best and favourite meals that you've had. Maybe you've had a meal in another country. Maybe you really like English food and you're not from England. Tell me. Let me know in the comments below. Right. Thank you very much. Thanks for listening. And remember, as always, have fun learning, otherwise you won't learn. Take care and I'll see you in the next one. Bye for now.